Hi, welcome to my thoughts on Eyes of Wakanda, Season 1, Episode 1, Into the Lion's Den. Now, let's see. I think the age rating was TV 12 or something like that. For some reason, it's not on IMDb. Certainly this video will be rated TV 12. There will be spoilers for everything MCU leading up to and including this episode. Yet another piece of the MCU that I love, like most of them. Let's dive right in. I, there's a couple of things going on here that I am kind of a mark for. The mission that was secretly a test. The thing of I knew you'd say that. I think, yeah, the yeah, so the I quite like a lot of the technical stuff. I'm going to save for the spoiler-free review. I think, I'll talk some specifics here since that I don't. There were several times where, first off, one major thing that I felt throughout this, definitely got a Prince of Persia, especially like Sands of Time era vibe. I also got somewhat of an anime vibe. The bit where she's chasing him through, all the. I just realized I have no idea what those things are called, but it's like fabric hanging from the ceiling. Trying to find. She expects him to be behind, somewhere. And the bit with grabbing the weapon in midair all felt like I haven't watched that much anime, but yeah, um, those definitely had that vibe to me. Yeah, uh, let's see. It makes a lot of sense as a companion to the um, Black Panther movies, perhaps especially the first one. We have this thing of like a war dog who went off script and has to be stopped by at least one other person from Wakanda, and perhaps one that some might not expect to do it. And let's see, we have the yeah um, we see yet again the theme that has been with the MCU from the very start. Of basically part of being good is choosing to counter evil and like having the choice, because she's specifically given the choice to join, multiple times in the episode actually. First the guy who you know yeah, he's got the heated up piece of metal, um but she sees that and she's like, what do you do when you're branded and you're Wakandan? And yeah, the lion himself, um, off, yeah, says, she could choose to join him. I think that pretty well covers. Um, yeah, another way that this is similar to the first Black Panther movie is the element that, not only is a war dog, but it's someone who saw what the war. Oh, hold on. Was he? I guess he was the son of a war dog. I guess he wasn't technically a war dog. Anyway, yeah, right. It was his father who was the war dog. Killmonger's Eric's father. Anyway, but yeah, it was someone who had some connection to Wakanda and who was related to a war dog, and who saw what the world outside of Wakanda looked like, and felt like they couldn't go back. And it is one of those things of right, and we have the fact that, quite a few people who enslave people will claim that they are fighting for freedom, or at the very least against something worse. He keeps saying that Wakanda is worse. And let's see, I think, does that more or less cover? So, we had seen her in the trailer, but even so, we kind of got a vibe of there's something about her. She doesn't seem, you know, yeah, as she's not running scared like all these others are. She was essentially expecting it, as we learn later. Um, I think that might just about bring us to, yeah, amazing choreography. Right, the bit with the bit where they're both hanging from fabric and fighting each other, that reminded me a lot of some of the choreography in The Musketeer, which snagged the choreographer from Matrix. I think, was it all three Matrix movies? I can't quite remember. I could spell his name, but I have no idea how to pronounce it. My wrists are too bad to look it up right now, and I am currently under the impression that it is more offensive to mispronounce the name than to make a valiant effort. Right, wait. You know what? I think you know what I mean by that. Yeah. It's worse to mispronounce it than to not try to say it, I think was what yeah. Yeah, I have not slept enough last night. I like that they had some actual brutality here. The MCU recently has been getting a bit more, like, intense. And, yeah, like, not an awful lot of blood, but, a lot of the violence is more implied than shown. But, I mean, that's a brand. We see before and after. We don't see the branding itself, but we do see that guy's chest with the brand on there, so yeah. Um, Sadly, human history has a lot of brutality. Um, Jordan Peterson isn't going to like try to justify it, but he will be extremely evasive and play obnoxious word games. I'm kind of glad that it seems like more and more people are turning on Jubilee. I don't know why anyone ever. I haven't watched an entire episode, but I've seen enough clips to know it's garbage. And helping fascists, which is a wonderful reason for us to stop supporting it. Anyone who had been, but yeah, I'm seeing a number of leftist YouTubers that I hold in high regard saying this is it. That was a step too far. And some of them saying, they've been going too far for a while now, but okay. I think that does pretty well bring us to. But anyway, yeah. Sadly, there is still a lot of brutality. We humans can be absolutely dreadful to each other still today. Free Palestine. We gotta stop the genocide of Palestinians. Yeah, I think that might just about bring us to. Let's see. Right, I really loved. Oh, right. Yeah. The. Wait. Am I gonna talk about that? I guess I'll. Yeah, because it's gonna be the same. I'm thinking about the opening sequence. That's almost definitely gonna be the same in each episode because it's the title sequence. Anyway, I think the bit at the start where or yeah, early on anyway. The thing about right also the thing about so yeah, early on it seems like you know Achaea is trying to fit a square peg into a round hole with Nani, but by the end we realize no, she always knew. It's just, she framed this as, this is something you could do that's like Dora Milaje. But then, no, she just wanted her to. She knew that she would succeed and that she would be interested in war doggery. And so fairly early in the episode, we have Nani reveals, and beats up reveals that she's not some villager, beats up the various ones, and some of the guards nearby hear, and they say, those two sure love their job. Because that's the thing, when violence is the norm, because basically it's a hoisted by their own petard kind of situation, because if they never did use violence, if it really was about freedom, those two guards would be like, there's not usually sounds of violence around us, we got to check that out. So very nicely done on that. Love that. That's another trope that I'm a real mark for. Really, really cool. The bit when they land, and there's the guy who fights off several, and then he runs up, and the guy easily takes him out. I think that might more or less cover. Really like that there was so little MCU style humor. It was basically, I think the only bit of it was, well, okay, I guess there's so there's the guards that made the mistake that I just mentioned, and then we have the bit where she's trying to sneak through a place, but then some people walk in, so she uses a disguise and says something, and they're like, what? And then they turn, she's gone. Though those are really the only jokes that were other than that, yeah. I think I thought it was an interesting story. This thing of War Dog, who basically became a cult leader, and starts having these raiders go around. I think that more or less covers pretty much everything else I have to say is going to go in the review. Let's see. Is there anything that I am still missing? I found she was interesting. I did not catch her name, but she had I wasn't entirely sure if she really was pale or if that was they put some kind of color on her, but her laying out the the terms. And we have the thing about, she says, all that you are asked to do by the line is smile. So smile. Once a day, send a picture of it. And that's such a... I really appreciate recent media that actually confronts, I suppose in this case it's not purely misogynist. Well, wait, was this only the women? Because they were taking prisoners of more than one gender. Anyway, certainly, we have a major problem with misogynists who, will abuse women and then say, why don't you smile more? Just basically feeling entitled to it. And in this episode that guy is the villain, unquestionably. So, quite appreciate that. Let's see. Yeah, and she she fights Noni, and I mean, she straight up says the line, that they will be groomed. I know she means something else, but I feel like the writers knew what they were doing there. I don't think that's a coincidence. But yeah, you know, she's very devoted. I don't know. I guess she figures that, you know, she's probably hoping for Trump to give her a pardon. You know, he's really fond of doing that today to, you know, some of the worst human beings around right now.